Oh, there's our beef. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is DJ, joined here today by my roommates who you've heard so much about. This is Connor. Slide into the camera here.
Yeah.
Come on,
I got
come
you.
on in.
No one's watching yet.
Doesn't matter. This is Connor. He'll be joining me to color cast the match that we are looking at today. Chelsea versus Newcastle to wrap up this Premier League weekend. So welcome into the booth. Excited to have you here today, Connor. So let's go through the lineups and see what you think about what the two managers are trying to get done.
Yeah, let's do it.
For Chelsea, you got Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, Cesar Azpilicueta, Andres Christensen, Antonio Rudiger making up a back three. Callum Hudson-Odoi and Marcos Alonso will be the wing backs with a midfield pivot of Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic. Front three, Mason Mount, Timo Werner with Tammy Abraham leading the line today. No Christian Pulisic once again was unavailable last week due to, I believe, family issues was what Thomas Tuchel said, but will not be selected in the starting lineup once again for the side of Newcastle. We've got Carl Darlow, Jamal Lewis, Ciaran Clark, Jamal Lascelles, Emil Kraft going to get another start in the back four. Kraft struggled the last time we saw him play on stream, unfortunately. John Joe Shelby, Isaac Hayden, Joe Willock, recently acquired from Arsenal on loan, will be the midfield trio. Miguel Almiron in front of them with Alan St. Maximin and Dwight Gale leading the line up front. So, bit of an interesting formation from Steve Bruce here, Connor. Not something we see a whole lot out of him, but he has been forced by some injuries to play a couple of his players, and Almiron has been on a tear.
He has been. I don't know if this formation is right. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Like, they've got a lot of pace up front, I guess. Like, Almiron's quick. Saint Maximin obviously is probably the fastest player in their team. And Gale's no slouch either. It'll be interesting, I guess. Joe Willock on the right side of a diamond. I don't know if he's. I don't know. In one of those kind of water carrier, I wouldn't be surprised if Shelby and Hayden sit a little deeper. Willock is sort of, I don't know, in front of them in some way, and then Saint Maximin and Almiron are sort of in roaming 10 roles. Saint Maximin likes to drift out left, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there. Almiron could drift right. Looking at Chelsea's team, I would also be surprised if the shape on the screen is the one that we see. I know they have been playing three at the back, but with Hudson-Odoi and Alonso as opposite sides, I have a feeling Hudson-Odoi is going to play a more attacking role, and Alonso would shift back. And obviously, Azpilicueta is a fullback by trade, and so like I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if that looks more like a 4-2-3-1 as the game goes on, or a 4-4-2 in some way. Like I don't know. I think Mount could slip into more of a number 10 role. Werner, Hudson-Odoi, and Abraham could be a front three. Jorginho and Kovacic will obviously sit. The two of them will probably be, sitting in front of the defense, operating in a more defensive midfield role. I have to imagine. Oh, we're started.
Well, we are into the game. Thank you to NBC for getting us a little bit late. Does happen sometimes, so apologize for that late start. It does catch by surprise on that off occasion. There's nothing we can do about the broadcasting speed from NBC, but we do have the game underway. Mason Mount currently holding off a challenge from Jamal Lewis, but just going to fall to the ground. Of course, a lot has been made of whether Mason Mount is starting or on the bench of late, considering the departure of his favorite man in the world, Frank Lampard, Connor.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect him to be in the role that we all probably saw him going into the season as, which is more of a rotational player, right? Like, he's obviously someone who, like, he's not like a reserve team caliber player, but he's also not a superstar for Chelsea, in my opinion. Like, I think it makes sense for him to be someone who, like, is probably the primary backup at a couple of different positions in midfield and wide, but not necessarily like the straw that stirs the drink like he kind of was under Lampard. I would expect that Havertz gets more games moving forward. Once Pulisic's back from whatever's going on, I would expect him to go back. He was their best attacking player in the whole first half of the season. So obviously as Americans we want to see him do well, but also like his performance has definitely merited a spot, you'd think.
Yeah, can't disagree with you. I think particularly in that first part of the season where there were a lot of ups and downs, he was certainly there, constant in attack. Just offers something a little bit different than I think the rest of their attackers do with some of the pace and drive. Even some of their pacier players, Timo Werner would sort of be the one that comes to mind. Just has a little bit more, drive at the defender type of ability than the rest of his team do. But a good move by Chelsea now up the right-hand side. There is Hudson-Odoi back in that sort of wing-back midfield position that he has been taking up under Tuchel and has found great success. A good ball out to Alonso, who's going to have a strike, but Good work by Carl Darlow. Gets down quickly and smothers that one before anyone can arrive.
Yeah, Alonso's always down to shoot or cross. Not much for possession play. They've got other players in the team that'll do that. Alonso's always just sort of like, you never really know what you're going to get from him at any given point.
Yeah, we've seen the ups and downs of Marcos Alonso. Plenty of golden free kicks going into the upper 90. Plenty of terrible defensive displays that have left Chelsea's defenders and their team at the end of the day very, very shorn and at the end of some bad score lines.
It's really weird for like a wingback's primary skill set to be headers and free kicks. Like it's a really bizarre combo for someone who plays in that position. But
certainly is. Throw coming in from Newcastle, but that one going to be headed straight away.
A crappy touch by Mount.
Yeah, no kidding. Rudiger goes up,
Another
nods this one down.
touch.
Chelsea just do manage to keep in possession, but that's a bit of a loose pass as well. And despite the early control, it's been a little messy here to start this one off. It's Kepa in goal today in place of Edouard Mendy. Has gotten a couple starts under Thomas Tuchel, but of course has been largely stranded on the Chelsea bench since the later stages of last season. Comes into Almiron. Bouncing away. Lewis just going to take another throw. There is Edouard Mendy on the bench today. Not sure if he's nursing an injury or not. Nevertheless, cross coming in. Newcastle have managed to keep this one, but St. Maximin not with the best first touch he's ever had, and that one will roll out of play for a Chelsea goal kick.
My goal for today is to see St. Maximin isolated with Jorginho. Just for maximum speed disparity.
Yeah, that would be quite the speed difference.
Is that an illegal goal kick?
There's no way.
No, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
I think he touched it before it went out.
Interesting. Well, just going to be able to take it again is Kepa, but it certainly has been known for his gaffes in the past. Let's see if we find another one today. Goalkeeping has been a bit of the issue for Chelsea before the arrival of Mendy, and even after that there have been some performances that Mendy's had that haven't been at his best, but Hudson-Odoi once again involved in a good move over the left hand side for Chelsea. Abraham knocking it back to Alonso. They've been slowed down now as the remainder of the striped shirts have managed to get back into their defensive shape. Here's Werner shifting away from one challenge. He's inside the box, cutting it over to Alonso, gets the cross away.
Pass.
Yeah, certainly accidental. That will come off of Kraft for the first corner of the match. Connor, when you're looking at this shape, regardless of whether it's a 3-5-2 with the wing backs, what are you looking for Chelsea to do? What's kind of the strategy for them set up here by Tuchel, who has had some good results right after he's come in following a bit of, tough up and downs before Lampard was sent away?
Yeah, I guess the things I'm looking at primarily is, well, it seems like Abraham is kind of getting his crack under Tuchel, and how, to the degree to which he and Werner are a striker partnership, or if Werner's sort of in behind. I think Werner's the player I'm, along with Havertz, most interested to see how he's deployed under Tuchel, just because Werner's clearly really, really talented. You could see it even under Lampard when he wasn't playing well. Like, he does a lot of things really, really well. This isn't going to be a game where I'd anticipate there's a lot of space in behind for him, and so figuring out how he can play off of Abraham is probably important. And really important to how Abraham fits into the team moving forward, just because they do have they can play Werner up front by himself. They've got Giroud, they've got Abraham. There's no shortage of options. Chelsea will always buy someone if they feel like,
Header comes in from Azpilicueta off the second corner kick, and I think that one's blocked near the goal line by Gale. You see Gale here marking right next to his goalkeeper. It's a good header by Azpilicueta, and it is a good reflex sort of block with the head there by Dwight Gale, and that one did look like it was destined for the side of the goal. Azpilicueta, not your usual customer on a corner kick, but getting involved here is the third corner in as many minutes for Chelsea. This one rolled back to Mount on a training ground routine. Abraham open just outside the 6-yard box, cannot guide his header goalwards. That's a very large missed opportunity early on in the match for him.
I gotta say, that last Azpilicueta header is exactly the kind of thing that people don't notice is the result of man marking. Like, his man was just a little bit late tracking him. Oftentimes when you have zonal marking and a dude gets a wide open header, a lot of people complain about if you had man marking that wouldn't happen. But I think plays like that are evidence as to why sometimes man marking isn't all it's cracked up to be, just because someone like Azpilicueta, you'd back a zone to keep him from hitting the ball, because theoretically you have good headers across the 6. But if you're man marking everybody, There's room for someone like Azpilicueta that's good at like just being first to the ball.
Yeah.
To be first to the ball.
Yeah, you can be clever, make a get a half step someone, a slight screen, and all of a sudden you're behind.
Yeah. It does look like Werner's playing like a leftish role, which I guess if Mount's on the right, Hudson-Odoi is going to be the more aggressive positioning wise of the two wing backs if that's how they're playing. And so Mount will have more space to drift inside like he is right now.
Yeah, making a forward run. Here's Mason Mount. Marcos Alonso trying to pick him out, but not seeing a lot of options. It's in Abraham.
Everyone on Azpilicueta's side will be afforded a little bit more positional and discipline, you'd imagine, just because Azpilicueta is
not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. A very good terrible touch there.
Losing out to Alan St. Maximin, who's tracking back now. Maximin coming across the pitch, but doesn't see a whole lot of options. It's not something atypical sometimes playing for a Newcastle side. Now they're cycling around the midfield. I believe this is Hayden. Rolled all the way back to Lascelles.
Aggressive one-man press from Abraham.
I think Abraham really does love the one-man press sometimes.
Maybe a bit keen
I
there
really,
to impress his
really
coach.
think he thinks he's going to get the ball sometimes. It's pretty funny. Ooh, nice ball over the top. That one just going to roll a little bit too far for Dwight Gale. Good reaction by Arrizabalaga, excuse me, to come out for that one. And now Chelsea coming through the left flank with Alonso.
See, that's the kind of position where Marcos Alonso is not very useful.
Yeah, just give
like he didn't really. It wasn't close enough to cross, and they had too much momentum to really turn it and play back. Like I think he can keep possession if he goes backward, but like on the break with the ball is not really his forte.
Yeah, don't.
Like Hudson-Odoi is definitely of the two. You'd rather go to his side if you're breaking with space.
Yeah, I would hope so. Marcos Alonso, pretty much known, like you said, for the crossing, for the headers, and for free kicks. That's about it. Defending's never been his strong suit.
It's interesting, though. Werner dropping deep. Alonso staying forward.
Yeah, there is Alonso.
Ooh, made it out there.
Werner back to Kovacic. He's going to assess his options. Clip ball into the back post. Hudson-Odoi trying to go over the top of Lewis, but just going to run. That was an interesting attempt at a back heel pass from Hudson-Odoi. Didn't quite come off, but Chelsea have one possession back. Kovacic. That's a loose touch from Werner.
Just caught him a little off balance, it looked like.
That is, oh boy. Gale tries to play a ball into the channel, but there's absolutely nobody there. It'll just roll all the way back to Kepa.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Newcastle have basically set up without like, I mean, Dwight Gale's their number 9, but he's not really a focal point the same way that like a Joe Ellington type is physically. And sometimes playing without like a proper all-out striker against 3 at the back can make life really difficult for those 3 because they don't really have anyone to defend against. And so you can crowd the midfield a little bit more. We'll see. Like Dwight Gale hasn't played that high. I wonder if that's what Newcastle are trying to do.
Could be the case.
They may just be defending deep, and it's a moot point.
Newcastle do often defend very deep.
May not be especially deliberate.
Hey there, SSB Mix. How you doing today? Good to see you in the chat. One of our 2 subscribers up there in the right-hand corner. God bless. How you guys? How you holding up in the snow? Let me know. It's been pretty brutal. It's stacking very high. I know you and Nolan are maybe not that used to this much snow. Really, we aren't that used to this much snow. This is a lot of snow. Here's Abraham. Hudson-Odoi. Chelsea taking their time to build this one up. No Thiago Silva today. Not sure if he's injured or just a squad rotation from Tuchel in his lineup. Of course, can be happy to have so many options afforded to him. As Kovacic turns away from Almiron. Going to lay one out to Hudson-Odoi, who's essentially playing a right wing position despite the initial lineup making it look like he was a wing back. Here's an attempted cross from Jorginho. Will find its way to Werner, but get punched away by Newcastle. Good work by Mount over to Hudson-Odoi. Cross flashed is blocked by Lewis. It'll go back for another Chelsea corner, their 4th of the match.
If they're going to cross their way into beating this Newcastle team, they have to get to the end line, I think. Like those pulled back balls across the face of goal are so much harder to deal with than like just a lot looped in cross.
Yeah, Jamal Lascelles, Sierra and Clark, very, very adept in the air. They're basically trained all the time to deal with loopy crosses into the middle, so will take a bit more of a cut pass to try to beat out Newcastle defense. Here comes that fourth corner of the match. Swung in from the far side. Header goes up in the back post. I think Werner actually got in front of Lewis there somehow, but couldn't guide his header goalwards, was under a little bit too much pressure. What do you think of Steve Bruce as a manager of Newcastle? He reminds me a lot of, why am I blanking on the Crystal Palace manager? Roy Hodgson, but like even more defensive. He like gets some good results though. Do you think he just like throws his best players out there and says like, do your thing?
I mean, he's an experienced manager. It's not a very ambitious hire. Like whenever you hire Steve Bruce, you're not like, it's not the move that somebody makes to climb the table. It's a move, like, honestly, like Newcastle were in a position where they let Benitez go, who was clearly too good for them, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And they're a little bit more risk averse as a club. They've been sort of in selling mode for such a long time, with Mike Ashley trying to just like wait for the right offer to come in and sort of make the club as low expense as possible until then. Mm-hmm. And so someone like Steve Bruce does, at least like he's been there before. He's not like a huge risk. It's just a hugely unambitious choice. I mean, this Newcastle team have done fine for where they're at. Like, Sen Maximin's a good player.
It's gonna be offsides. Oh, good challenge in from Jamal Lascelles. Abraham goes over in a ton of pain, but that looked to be very clean from the Newcastle captain.
It did look like it was a clean challenge. However, sometimes I do think like the Premier League's policy of telling their linesmen not to flag offsides when it's clearly offsides is just going to lead to injuries. Like, if Abraham's offsides there, it's the Premier League's fault.
He's
not offsides.
He's on. Okay.
Well, the point still stands. Yeah. It happens like quite a bit where like someone's clearly offsides, he'll let the play go. Someone's going to get hurt at some point.
Yeah, certainly is the case.
It's not as clean of a tackle as it initially appeared. Yeah, I don't think
he does have to come around Abraham to get to the ball. I do think it's still a good tackle there. I don't think it's a penalty at all. It's good recovery from Lascelles. Abraham was onside, but he is still down in a lot of pain.
Abraham's obviously like has his physical advantages, but one of his limitations is that he can't really keep someone on his back the same way that someone who's got a lower center of gravity and a wider base can.
Mm-hmm. Receiving some treatment on this right leg. We'll see if he can continue. Hope he is all right.
That's a skill that like Salah and Aguero both have.
Oh, like, yeah. Aguero can hold someone off.
You just hold somebody. Like, if someone's on the opposite side of them, it's really hard to get on the other side without fouling them.
Yep. One Kyle Kurfürst used to be very good at that as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
There's Giroud getting warm on the sideline.
Silva's out with a muscle injury.
Muscle injury? Okay. Yeah.
Chelsea do have a pretty good bench, though. Pulisic, Ziyech, Giroud, Kante, Zuma, James, Emerson, Chilwell, and Mendy all on the bench. Mm-hmm.
So what happens to Kante here? Because clearly Kante is too good of a player to rot on a bench, but it seems like Tuchel doesn't prefer him in the way he's setting up his team. Do you think Chelsea look to sell? Do you think Conte is just going to try to earn his spot back? Like, how do you think that plays out?
I think it'll depend on how the rest of the season goes. Like, if Conte really can't get a look in the rest of the season, like, somebody will want to buy him. Like you said, like there's not enough good defensive midfielders around for someone like Conte to just rot on a bench. The same way that some other positions like that can happen with. Mm-hmm. He's also not young. So, like, the idea that they should hold out for a massive transfer fee, I think, is, like, a little silly. Like, you're not going to get $80 million for N'Golo Kante, who's,
approaching 30.
Yeah, he's, like, 30 years old. And so, and whose game is hugely dependent on his ability to cover
a lot of ground,
Yeah. Like, I think he'll still be good. But I would think that somebody would be willing to pay an acceptable fee. The thing is, a lot of the people that would want to buy him are direct rivals of Chelsea, and Chelsea don't need to sell. And Conte doesn't seem like this type of dude that would
cause a transfer
like
hold
really
up
yeah. I think the most likely scenario is that he gets some games, and it could still, I don't know, like maybe they would sell him, but I don't think he's gonna like rot on the bench at Chelsea. He's too good.
That's the dash to food. To the food. Cover me, Connor.
Yep.
Entertain Diaz.
Well, it looks like Abraham's down. I was kind of wondering when Giroud's going to come on at some point in pretty much any game where he starts on the bench.
Looks like it's going to be early.
The thing I was wondering was whether he'd be on for Abraham or in addition to Abraham. Looks like for Abraham. This will be super disappointing for Abraham, who is probably desperate to get in there and score a goal. With Giroud, you'd have to imagine that the approach is going to be somewhat similar. Like it is like as close to like for like as they can get. Abraham's a little faster, a little bit more willing to play in behind. Giroud's a little bit better at hold up play and link up play, but you know, as far as Chelsea have a substitute for it, you know, Giroud is probably the guy. See the player. Okay, it's. If he does get the ball first, he definitely trips him. He's lucky he's just to the side enough that it's not like a tackle from behind. It's one of those ones that it's either a clean tackle or it's potentially a red card. There's not really much in between.
So I may have or may not have burned the Brussels sprouts.
Do you not know yet, or
they're burned?
Okay.
I think I kept them in there too long. I think it was supposed to be 25 minutes, and I think I kept them in there for 30. Also, your Parmesan cheese had mold on it.
I got it like a couple days ago.
Which one?
The one in the. Never. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Giroud's on.
Giroud is on. Alrighty. Our French man, Olivier Giroud, coming onto the pitch. Tammy Abraham no longer able to continue. Yeah, food's ready at halftime.
Okay.
We're good. Lonzo throwing it in. Left flank here for Chelsea. They've actually given it away in a pretty bad position. Trying to hold on to it's Gale. Is it back? Gale. Gale goes down at the top of the box, but no foul. It did look like he was looking for that one.
Ooh.
That's a poor pass from Giroud, newly introduced, given away. Nice shift of the body from Willock, but crowded out by multiple Chelsea defenders. Jorginho coming away with it. Here's Mount. Looks for a ball in the channel. This one looks to be well marshaled by
too
Jamal
vertical.
Lewis.
You have to have some angle on that.
It's a little bit on Mount there and a little bit on the runner, correct?
I just think Mount. I didn't think there was really a spot for, like it was a kind of idea you want to look for, especially with someone like Hudson-Odoi.
Lewis, St. Maximin, onto his right foot, takes the strike. It's blocked. Comes to Willock.
Just thought he chose the wrong angle.
Yeah, probably. Willock crossing one in, hoofed away. And looks like someone's either offside or a foul. Looks like it's on Shelby / Voldemort. That is a nice ball from Shelby on the left foot there. It's Azpilicueta out of position, actually, a bit surprisingly. It's a good block.
That's a good recipe for how they can get in behind them. Like, obviously, there's going to be some space behind Hudson-Odoi that Azpilicueta can't cover.
Oh, shoot.
And Shelby's range of passing is excellent. So.
Yeah, it is. Shelby once a Swansea man.
Once a Liverpool man.
Once a Liverpool man.
Always a Charlton man.
Remember that time that he got a red card in the first game of the season and they found the guy who looked just like him in the stands?
He got sent off against Man U and then yelled at Ferguson on the way off. It was awesome. for grassing him up.
Oh, Ferguson. How we at Manchester United miss him. What a guy. There's Steve Bruce, once player 4, Sir Alex Ferguson. Not sure what his assistants are looking at there. But they got some sort of nice little teleprompter setup going on.
Wonder what the length of that extension cord is.
That's probably... Well, that's a good question, actually. It might not be that long, depending on if they got a plug near the bench.
I suspect it's long because they probably take that thing to every away ground and you have no idea like
that's true
what you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Like a lot of old grounds probably have no plug like anywhere near the bench.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, Stamford Bridge is an old ground. I don't know.
Crossfield ball, nicely picked out, is Hudson-Odoi. He's been allowed to turn. 2 players in front of him, trying to earn some space, but just has to go backwards. Mount. Azpilicueta, bit of a looped cross, headed away by Lascelles. Chelsea have won it back in the midfield. Rudiger going to move it forward to Werner, back in this left-hand side position. As Alonso in support, we're going to look into the feet of Giroud. Kovacic. Mount. See Maximin coming back to try to help, but it's a little bit of space for Hudson-Odoi. Lays it for Kovacic, strikes it. It's blocked. Too many striped jerseys in the way.
Kovacic not really someone you associate with long-range screamers either.
Not really, no. He did almost have one like 2 weeks ago from a similar position.
I mean, he's a good technical player. He's just someone you don't associate much with like final third contributions.
What you doing, Luca? Azpilicueta. Oh, that's a bit of a miscommunication between Azpilicueta and Hudson-Odoi. So how do you think you like burnt crispy Brussels sprouts?
I'll never know.
You're not going to eat them?
I mean, I haven't seen how burnt they are.
Okay. They're pretty burnt. I think they're in there for 5 to 10 minutes longer than they need to be. Looks like Jorginho wanted to play a ball over the top, but elected not to. Jorginho does love to try to pick the ambitious pass. On that one random occasion, he's not playing it 3 yards to the side. Nice interplay here from Chelsea as they move it forward. Giroud going to blast one out towards Alonso. He's going to hit. Oh, he actually had her down. Oh, it's just wide from Werner.
That was a good move.
That was actually a very good move and a very unselfish decision from Alonso, which I did not expect. I for sure thought he was hitting that.
The trajectory of this pass right here, I thought was a miss hit. It may have been, but with Alonso, you always back him to like high point the ball against somebody like that.
It's a very nice header down. Werner does have to stretch though.
Would have been a good goal.
Would have been a very good goal. Would have been a lot of praise for Marcos Alonso for not shooting it. Of course, Jake Valerius would have hit it for sure. Had to be hit. That was a had to be hit ball.
You think so?
I think so.
I thought if it had dropped, like it wasn't going to drop into a shooting range. Like it was at head height when it would have sailed past him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait, what are they? Okay, we're getting an extra view of the little teleprompter that Newcastle have. So they're watching the live feed of the game plus like some extra angles, I think.
It's probably proprietary info on there.
Is there like a streaming service where you can get like multiple angles of the stadium?
NBC's had that for a while where you can get multiple angles.
Okay, that must be what it is.
If you want to watch the game like you're in the upper bowl, you can do it.
I guess the Newcastle assistant coaches want to watch the games like they're in the upper bowl.
No, I mean, I can see why they would want to do it.
Yeah. They're just trying to get different angles on how
yeah, like I think it's a really, like, on the touchline's a really bad place to like totally understand everything that's going on in a game, just because your angle is so bad. You see like a very and all these pitches are slightly crowned.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're on one side, like they can't see Azpilicueta's boots.
Mm-hmm.
They can probably see his knees.
Yeah. Good footwork in the bottom corner by Almironi. Initially had the beating of Marcus Alonso, was able to play it off of him for a corner kick. Be the first of the match for Newcastle. Here come the big bodies, Jamal Lascelles.
Alan Saint-Maximin.
Not exactly a big body.
But here he comes.
See Aaron Clark in the box. Here's the delivery from John Joe Shelby. Easily headed away by Callum Hudson-Odoi, but it's Rudiger. But the angle on the header not great. Just going to go right back out for another corner. What do you think of? Oh, hold on here. Shelby's corner coming in once again. Good. I think that was skimmed by Lascelles, but Rudiger doing enough to put him off. St. Maximin trying to dance away from a couple Chelsea defenders. We'll have it poked off him, and he will lose my fantasy team 0.5 points as Timo Werner comes forward. He will lose someone else's fantasy team 0.5 points as Jamal Lewis puts in an excellent challenge.
I'm a little surprised. I guess it depends. Do Chelsea have someone with a left-footed delivery? If they do, I'm a little bit surprised that Steve Bruce would do an outswinger with Arrizabalaga in goal. Like he's not a very authoritative presence, and with someone like Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Clark in there to challenge for it, I'm just surprised that they wouldn't just throw it in the mixer.
Is that usually what the decision is, unless you're doing like a training ground routine or something? Just like,
well, I don't know. I think a team like Newcastle, a lot of their MO is to, like, their plan A is to take what their opponents give them, type of thing. And if your opponents give you Arrizabalaga in goal instead of Mendy,
got blood coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, he does. I don't know, like the drop off between Mendy and Arrizabalaga in terms of like assertiveness in the box, coming out for things, and assuredness, like it's a pretty big gap. And if you have a decent left-footed delivery, you probably want to put Arrizabalaga under some pressure. You're only going to get so many chances to make him a part of the game.
Alan Werner back on the pitch, had some blood coming out of his mouth. What do you make of Rudiger being Tuchel's first choice center back as soon as he arrives? Because under Lampard it was Zuma and Christensen pretty much whenever they were available. And as soon as Tuchel arrived, like Zuma just nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I agree with Tuchel's assessment more than Lampard's. I think I don't think he's perfect. I think over the last couple of years he's probably been. Oh, there's a goal.
Yep, there it is. Opening goal going to be scored here by Olivier Giroud after some excellent work by Timo Werner, who was just let back on the pitch after having that blood in his mouth, but danced right by Emil Kraft, got to the goal line, got a good cross. Carl Darlow, I think, gets a punch to this to knock it away, but he can't keep it out of the danger zone. Falls to Olivier Giroud, who makes no mistake. You can check it out on the replay if you are watching the stream.
It's just a little too much space to give Werner, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just a little too easy.
Like he basically went, basically unchallenged, carried the ball 30 yards.
Wow, Giroud almost knocked that back into the goalkeeper. Yeah, it's a nice work here by Werner. He gets a one-on-one with Kraft, just gets a quick little shift to his left-hand side, completely beats him for pace and acceleration. Gets a good cross in to the 6-yard box.
Left foot, all he's got to do is get his feet right.
Yeah, exactly. Darlow has to come and try to punch that. He gets a piece of it initially, but it's not a good enough punch to keep it away from a dangerous part of the box.
What's your assessment? I think Rudiger has been probably, I think talent-wise, he's Chelsea's best center back that isn't Thiago Silva, and Thiago Silva's old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would play him.
I think he's a much better defender than Zuma. I think Zuma obviously has offered a lot for Chelsea in the opposite box than his own box.
Yeah, I just think that stuff is harder to predict.
Yeah, I think it's way harder.
Rudiger is 6'4". He's not. It's not like you can just leave that guy. I think Zuma, physically has an imposing figure, right? he's strong. He's not slow. I think technically Rudiger is much better.
Yeah, I think so too. Zuma would sometimes be able to play like long passes from the back, but I don't think he was ever very consistent at it.
I think Rudiger is more press resistant for sure. Christensen, I mean, he's a just don't really like believe in him as to that high of a degree. I don't think he's particularly strong in the air or on the ground. I think he's good with the ball at his feet.
Ooh, okay. Acrobatic header to clear this one away from Darlow. It'll fall to Hudson-Odoi. Luca the dog has made a brief appearance between our chairs. Hudson-Odoi. Lay this one back. Jorginho. Over the right-hand side. Just moving it between the midfielders. Here's a nice run from Kovacic. He'll get it back. Top of the box. He's going to chip one into. Werner has a strike. It's just over the top of the goal. I'm not sure if Darlow got a hand on that, but he might have.
That was a promising attacking move from Chelsea. Kovacic does really well.
It's a nice
Alonso would have liked that to come to him, but I can see why they went to Werner. Just slip him in there. Yeah. It's a good chance.
No hand from Darlow, so that is just over the top from Werner. It was tricky to try to get it. He was stretching it forward a little bit. He had to either get the chip perfectly right or guide it into one of the corners. It wasn't easy, but nice move by Kovacic. Unlucky not to get that one on target, I think. So Karl Darlow now the main man for Newcastle, eh? Isn't the who was it before? He's healthy now.
Dubravka.
Dubravka, yeah.
Yeah, I mean Darlow's been Newcastle's second best player this season.
Yeah, probably
after Callum Wilson. Which I feel like last year Dubravka was probably their player of the season.
Yeah, that's the interesting part.
I don't see a huge amount of difference there. Like, if I was a Newcastle fan, I probably wouldn't care that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's your goalkeeper, and they're both decent. And also, like, you know, when you're on a Newcastle side, you get a lot of chances to feature what you can do. Not a whole lot he could have done about that one, though.
Oof.
Nice interception from Willock. Come back to Shelby. Lays it out to St. Maximin. Under pressure from two players immediately.
You do have to sort of crowd St. Maximin out.
Oh, yeah.
If you let him, he'll beat anybody one-on-one. Like, Azpilicueta is a good defender, but Azpilicueta can't stick with him. Yeah. He's too good with the ball at his feet. And his acceleration's really strong.
Yep, that's how I would game plan against it. I would be like, you see that guy in the ball, Callum? You're running back. It's not the best pass I've ever seen. Hudson-Odoi trying to play a crossfield ball over to Timo Werner, completely missed him. Rolls out for a throw in, and Tuchel's not happy about something.
Some aggressive gesturing.
Do you think that stuff? Obviously, the managers are trying to like get some instructions across about like the way that they wanted the team set up. But do you think that stuff, like, obviously he doesn't know the camera's on him, but like, what is he saying? Is he even like constructive at that point?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you know it happens all the time. Like a bad pass is made, and then they're just like.
Yeah, I think they're just coaching. I think it's probably more effective right now because there's no fans. It's really easy to hear coaches shout. They obviously can't like make wholesale changes to the way that they're playing through some shouts, but you can like give instruction.
Pretty aggressive challenger from Isaac Hayden, but does get the ball and just going to help Alonso back to his feet.
Alonso's probably just fine with that. He's sort of
looks like he
down a cul-de-sac.
Yeah. I'm always very impressed with fullbacks and wide midfielders who are just really good at playing out of tight spaces on the wing. Arsenal in like the early aughts did it pretty well. I think Man U did it pretty well.
The best of all time is Barcelona.
Well, yeah,
he's playing triangles.
That's a loose. Oh, it's actually a good ball by Hudson-Odoi. I thought that was going to be a loose ball by Hudson-Odoi, but he actually picks out Azpilicueta overlapping. Azpilicueta's cross is blocked away. Oh my God! Look outside. It is nasty. Hudson-Odoi driving inside, gets Jamal Lewis to commit, and yeah, it looks like the soft. I think it is still a soft pass. I think it lets Lewis get back and block that. Swung in from the corners, bouncing around. It's a free chance that looks to be a goal for Timo Werner, and it is. Chelsea going to take a 2-0 lead in the 39th minute, and Newcastle floundering here at the defensive end off of the fifth corner of the match for Chelsea. They look to be in some trouble as we are just 7 minutes away from halftime.
Yeah, the theory of Newcastle as a team is completely destroyed if you give up goals like this.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea of how they're trying to play, you can't concede a goal like that.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be that team that like concedes 10 chances and creates 2 and scores that one because it's on the break and you never concede a really good chance, like you can't just go and set up Timo Werner on a corner like that.
Yeah. That one gets flicked on at the near post. They're actually going to check this one to see if Giroud's hand hit it. No, it doesn't. Yeah. It looks like it comes off of Clark.
It's a really strange arm movement.
Then hits Hayden. Yeah, it was strange. Might have gotten like a little shove in the back, but he doesn't make any contact. If he did, then I don't know how. There's no way he made contact with that. What? Are we checking for offsides or something? He's not. No, looks like it stands. Yep, decision's good, and Timo Werner immediately going to take a hit in the face after that one, right on the same side that he was bleeding out of earlier, so that's fun. You know, one thing I dislike about like when I see like Twitter, like and social media in general, like get mad at a player for going down, is when people get mad at a player for going down after they've been stepped on the foot, like someone stepped on their foot. Yeah. Do people not understand how much that hurts? Particularly when it's freezing cold.
I mean, I think in general, people like to criticize players for not being tough enough because it seems like the kind of thing that your average person is like, you know, I don't have that talent, but I would be tougher than that type of thing. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's hard to criticize like, you know, San Maximin hasn't found the side netting there from 25 yards, like that type of thing. It's a lot easier to say like, oh, I would get out. That doesn't hurt.
Because it hurts, particularly with metal cleats. Like
I think there's also an underestimation sometimes from people about like at the speed that these guys are going, the amount that it takes to actually knock you to the ground is, you know, like if you're in stride sprinting, doesn't take a big touch.
Good cut back by Hudson-Odoi. Defending there by St. Maximin. That could have been promising for Azpilicueta.
The other thing is that I think when there are dives, I think there's a lot of incentives to dive. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Like if you're Mohamed Salah and people hang on you all game and you back into them constantly and they just grab you and you never get calls for it, and then one time you're sort of being held back and you fall down and you get a penalty, like that's just how the game is officiated. And like, you know, like these people are grabbing me, like I can't get to the ball because of them. You might as well fall down.
Ooh, turn and strike going to be decently wide there from Mason Mount at the end of the day. Looked promising when he did turn and hit that one, but you can see Darlow never looked troubled. Yep, that one actually didn't even get the curl on it. Was slicing away.
They can't let him turn and shoot like that though. Like the pressure on the ball was not enough. He didn't make the most of it. It's on his left foot. Yeah. But if you're Newcastle, your line of engagement has to be higher than 20 yards out.
Steve Bruce going to have a lot to talk about with his team at the halftime whistle, trailing by 2 goals and struggling up against Chelsea today. They haven't really offered a whole lot.
They haven't
Connor.
offered much of anything. No.
They
It's
almost
been comfortable for Chelsea.
They almost look as bad as Tottenham did against Manchester City. Almost. Can't wait for some Tottenham fan to see this on YouTube. Just freak out.
This goes on YouTube too?
Oh yeah.
Is there a Tottenham fan that's freaked out before? Or you just think in general someone
Just
might
in
find
general,
it?
it'd be funny. Hill Bonin was a Tottenham fan.
Ollie G back there defending set pieces.
Heck yeah.
Do you remember when Brendan Rodgers signed Mario Balotelli and he was defending a corner and there was this huge story about how Mario Balotelli had never defended a corner and people made it seem like someone who has played soccer doesn't understand the concept of defending a corner.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those things that's like, is this really like a story?
Yeah.
Like I get it. A lot of managers don't make their center forwards defend corners. Some of them do. And defending someone like he's been defended on corners 1,000 times. He knows what to do. It's just like one of those weird things that people latched onto.
One of those media stories that's not really a story, but they have to get out because their boss wants a story done at Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Or because people like dumb people will click it because they think it's funny.
Yeah. You want a striker that does defend corners or position on corners very well. Harry Kane is extremely good at heading away corners. He gets a lot. Shelby. Trying to look back for St. Maximin. Underhits the pass a little bit, and St. Maximin slips trying to control it. Still has it, but finally gets crowded out. Again, 2 or 3 Chelsea players back there. This time it was, I think, Kovacic's just 2.
I'm curious if they have any stats on average number of touches per time in possession. Like, you know, you get the ball 5 times in a game. How many touches do you take? Because I bet San Maximin's number 1 in the league. Every time he gets the ball, he takes at least like 5 touches. Which, like, I mean, that's kind of what he's being asked to do. And there's some people who like Marcos Alonso, not a high touches per per possession player. Like once they get the ball, just like sends it in, or passes it straight back. Sam Maximin has to either like carry the ball like 40 yards or like just tries to dice up 3 guys every time he gets it.
Yeah, he's basically asked to do that. Just like how Mikel Antonio is asked to literally be Superman for West Ham.
I mean, it's pretty much Superman. He's a beast.
He is a beast. We've said it before. It's like it would be crazy. I feel like West Ham would be so much worse without him, just because at least this Moyes West Ham, because like he literally asked him to do everything. He asked him to hold up play, run into channels. Like he literally asked him to do absolutely everything.
Score goals.
Yeah, like
yeah.
So that he can throw 9 other defensive players on the field and not give up goals.
The weather is something fierce out there.
Is it the weather, or are we just getting shoveled right now?
I don't know.
We'll update you guys after halftime when we get our food and take a look out our other window. Just about to reach halftime. 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. And now there's some space for Mount onto his left foot striking, and he's going to drag that one wide. Huge chance for Mason Mount to make it 3 right at the death of the first half. Yeah, you do have to get closer there. That was ridiculous.
Curious if there was if the outside of the right foot was on here.
He doesn't have the outside of the right foot in his locker.
Yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't.
There's no... You don't think he does?
No.
It's not that hard of it. I don't know that he really did. His first touch took him too far left.
Yeah, it did. Tuchel not very happy about that one. Can't blame him. That certainly should have been on target from Mount. Probably should have been a goal. Drew got a bit of a arm to the back of the head and going to get the free kick. But might amount to something. They got a minute left here in stoppage time. Then we'll go assess the damage to our Brussels sprouts.
Much like Steve Bruce.
will be assessing the damage to his squad. Well, don't worry, I'll be eating the Brussels sprouts regardless. They'll provide sustenance. They just might not taste super good. They'll be crunchy. St. Maximin taking this one away.
Don't pass.
Absolutely no one. He has no one to pass to. Like,
oh, look at that.
Those eventually passes sideways to Hayden.
Is this their best move of the half?
I mean, they're in Chelsea's half, so it might.
They get a corner out of this.
Good work by Hudson-Odoi to keep it for a throw in. They've had a corner already. Remember that?
Yeah, they did. They had two because Rudiger headed it straight out.
Yeah. There's Lewis. Throws this one in. Jorginho absolutely bullying Joe Willock there. It's not a statement I expected to be saying today. Right at the death of the first half, this will likely do it. And yep, center referee has put a whistle to his mouth and will bring us to halftime. So I hope you have enjoyed so far the first half. We're going to go grab our food. We'll be back with the second half after a couple of minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with second half action between Chelsea and Newcastle. This looks destined to be a Chelsea victory. Connor, what's the status of our fantasy league?
Jake is in first place. Is that adequate?
I suppose so. Is he winning this week?
No, he's getting torched by Brad.
Wow, by Brad.
Yep. Do we want this?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have to turn it back on?
It's on.
Oh, great.
You can see it going right there.
Yeah.
It's funny because when if you listen back to that, the way you talk, it'll come out very quiet.
So the side is quiet.
Yeah, so
but this is loud.
It's cardioid, yeah. Like this side is like loud, and then it gets a little bit of room out here, and then it like cuts like right there. Remember I told you how the first couple months I had with this thing, I had it backwards.
Oh yeah.
Who's that?
Oh no, Mason Mount's frozen. Just leave it.
He just walked out.
Luca.
I think I'm gonna turn my head.
Oh, we're back. And Jorginho's made a mess of that. It'll be a Newcastle free kick. It looked like a touch just got away from him there. Stream's paused. No idea what's going on. Stream paused.
It's frozen again?
Yeah.
Shit.
Really wanted to see John hit this free kick. Probably put it
Probably
top
a banger,
bins,
yeah.
We're gonna have to go through another ad.
Yep.
Good lord. Is there a way to turn those off? Do you have ad blocker?
I don't know if I've set it up or not. Oh, we're good.
I guess John didn't hit that one.
Nah, no banger. No top bins from John Joe. He loves to do that. I'll like put his first two paws on my bed and then I'll just like sit there for like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Christensen over to Rudiger. That's a nice ball by Rudiger. That's a what?
That was a really weird coming together. I don't think Werner was going to get to the ball, but I also think it was a foul.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too. It's like, what is that body check? It was kind of like Kraft was a bouncer and Werner was like some like punk 22-year-old trying to like force his way into the club.
I didn't see that, but you know.
We're so fortunate that ended up at Hudson Odoi's feet. So, Connor, I think I know the answer to this question. Would you see any way back from Newcastle in this half?
It's gonna be tough. The tide can change in a game like this, though. I think. If I was Steve Bruce, I'd probably make a change. Like, I'll look at what options they have on the bench.
I was just say, what are the other attacking players are out there? Almiron is too. Fraser. Callum Wilson's hurt, right?
They've got big Andy Carroll on the bench and Joe Ellington. I'd probably hook Gale.
Yeah. How much did Joe Ellington cost again?
Like 35 mil.
Still a lot. Especially for a club like Newcastle.
Newcastle need to find some way to actually make inroads into the other team's half. Whether it's someone that they can lump the ball to that can actually like win a header.
Yeah.
Or if it's someone that can play good passes to send Maximin or Almiron. But Gale sort of stranded, hasn't done anything in the game.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take off San Maximin or Almiron because those are their two ball carriers.
Yeah.
Fraser's an option. You're probably taking off Willock.
Yeah. You hook Hayden at some point though, just because you're already trailing.
I would probably hook Gale and Willock, and then bring on Fraser and either Joe Ellington or Carroll. Might be early for Carroll. Joe Ellington if you want to make the move now. Carroll if you wait till like the 75th.
Mm-hmm. But
they're down 2 goals. They need to be more aggressive with their changes.
Yeah.
Probably go Fraser for Willock soon.
Hey, Gale did something. He crossed the ball, but it wasn't very good.
If you bring on Andy Carroll, you gotta bring on Matt Ritchie. Gotta let the big dog eat with some crosses.
Yeah, so hook Isaac Hayden. Perfect.
Yeah, the thing is, I do think.
I mean, they need some
that
structure
Hayden,
in the midfield.
yeah.
It's good work by Joel. It's actually wow. Sorry, that's actually very good work by St. Maximin. Really kind of snuck in there.
Because I think if you take off Hayden, then Shelby's got to play as the single pivot.
Yeah.
And then you basically lose him in an attacking sense. And like, John Joe is someone who can pull a rabbit out of a hat.
So Chelsea's been pretty good since Tuchel arrived. Do you think this is how much of it's down to his tactics and like setup, and how much of it is down to the classic managerial honeymoon following the firing of the prior manager?
I think it's pretty much down to Chelsea have good players, and they should win as long as they should win most of their games as long as things are going okay behind the scenes. Like, I don't think you need a great manager as Chelsea to beat Newcastle at home, for example.
But the other,
you have these players. Like, who have they beaten that's been like an impressive win?
Let's see. You can check their prior schedule.
Looking at Newcastle's?
Yep.
Why?
Why? My bad. Deflected cross. That's a good punch away by Darlow. I think that was wide anyway, but Tottenham. I guess it's not that impressive of a win, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think Tuchel's a good manager. I think I'm curious to see how they'll play against like Man City,
Man United next 2 matches.
Yeah, Atletico Madrid's going to be a tough game. Okay. When that came out, I was like, Atletico's going to win this. With Tuchel, they've got more of a fighting chance.
Good cross, good punch away. So I have to. It's a cruel question, but I have to ask it to you. Who's more of a? Well, no one's really a title challenger. How do the final 3 places finish? Leicester, Man U, Liverpool. / do Chelsea find a way into the top 4?
Or do West Ham?
I don't think West Ham do.
I don't think so either. It's really hard to say. Liverpool obviously like in a massive ebb right now. But they're also the best team of those.
Assuming their team's fully healthy.
I think even if you have like Fabinho back, I think they're a better team than those other challengers. So I would back them to get in there. I think Man U will be in there.
So Leicester are now the bubble team. Can they hold up Chelsea?
I think Chelsea will make it. I would pick all of them to make it, even though they can't all make it. Like in terms of like, I don't know.
It's just hard.
Like Liverpool are in the worst position right now. They'd also be the team that you'd be least surprised to see them win 10 in a row in March and April. You know. It's tricky.
Who's their last game against?
Who was their last game?
Yeah.
Leicester.
Oh, that's right. Right, yeah, right.
They outplayed them until Leicester scored a goal that was on a weird VAR call. They gave them the goal back, and then Allison made a mistake and gifted them another goal. Totally took the wind out of their sails. Because Liverpool had played well. They'd outplayed Leicester in the first half. Vardy had like a couple chances like on the break, but in general it was like, you know, the ball was down in the Leicester half most of the game. And then Salah scored a really nice goal off a Firmino assist. Things were going well, and then it just like really turned on its head in the space of 6.5 minutes.
Oh, referee's tying his shoes. Happens to the best of us, sir. Yeah, Leicester's probably in the best form of those teams. I mean, what, Man U's two draws on the trot now against inferior opponents.
And they do have Soyuncu back now.
James Justin out for the rest of the season, though.
Yeah, but they've got Ricardo Pereira back.
They do have Ricardo Pereira back. Oh boy.
I don't know that like Justin. I mean, Ricardo Pereira is a better player when he's fit.
Yeah.
If Ricardo Pereira is still like, 80% of what he was.
Yeah, it was really good.
That won't be a downgrade.
Good chance for Chelsea here as Hudson-Odoi lays one back to Kovacic off a deflected shot, but Kovacic skies his effort. It's really piss poor, to be honest. He should be hitting the target with that. He tried to swing too hard. It's like crazy how it's been. I've been on a really bad run of predicting what games to cast. Like I've ignored both of the Burnley 3-goal games, which obviously is like very hard to predict because Burnley just don't score that many goals. Oh, repeat? Nope, no repeat.
Oh, he didn't hit that very well.
No, he did not.
Don't cross.
Burner.
Yeah.
Kovacic. That's a nice ball. Oh, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. A couple chances for Chelsea. Kind of a repeat of what happened for the first goal. Werner beat Kraft. Actually, that was Hayden that time. Got a left-footed cross away, partially deflected. Partially cleared, and then Alonso had a shot that was blocked.
I don't really know what Newcastle are doing right now.
Me neither. They're just not doing anything. That's where I was going to get to. Is like,
I mean, just like, why have they not made a change? We're 61 minutes in. It's very clear that the second half has not
changed any. Yeah,
changed. Like,
because I was going to get at it's like Newcastle have these games where they're just dead. And then you just get those random games that are like 3-2, 4-3 recently. Like Burnley
against Southampton.
Yeah, like Burnley having 2 consecutive 3-goal games. Like, how do you predict that? It's like the first time they've had possession in this half. Second, maybe. They're just doomed. They're away by Rudiger.
Tell you what the route back into the game is. It's a risky step over attempt from Kepa or something like that.
Funnel the ball to Kepa.
You got to hit it just so they like pass it back to him.
Yeah. Press just high enough that it goes back.
It's not an actual route into the game, but
would be, yeah.
Like it was against Liverpool, right?
Oh
yes, come on, John.
Oh no, damn, that would have been epic.
He was listening.
Yeah,
like
Jonjo just went for an audacious like 50-yard chip over the top of Kepa off a turnover, which we were really hoping would have gone in because that would have been hilarious.
It really just occurred to me that they can't watch the game. That's it.
I was gonna say, yeah, like. 61 minutes in, it just now occurs.
I just like.
I know.
All right, here we got Joe Linton warming up. Maybe a sea change. Get Ryan Fraser in there. Get wee man.
The old Ryan Fraser. John Joe. St. Maximin up the near side. He's just had no room to work today. St. Maximin. Been well marshaled by combo of Azpilicueta, Callum.
It is kind of amazing just
another midfielder.
How obvious it is that 3 teams are going down. Like Newcastle are in 17th right now.
Yeah. And
like don't seem that relegation threatened just because like the gap between them and Fulham and West Brom is like just seems like an ocean with the way that those teams can't score goals.
West Brom
got points.
So bad. It's like shot like I said this to you the other day. Like I've been just like so disappointed with Fulham because of the 3 bottom teams, I feel like they play the best football. And then, yeah, like you said, they just cannot score goals. They just can't finish, can't do anything right in the final third.
Yeah, they did win the other day.
Did win the other day.
Yesterday? It was yesterday, right?
Yeah, that was yesterday. But like they build up their build up play recently has like not been bad at all. It's been like
there was some commentator that compared them to Saki's Milan, and or maybe it was
what?
Saki's Milan. Some great Italian team. I think it was Milan, and it was basically like they've got Bobby De Cordova-Reid. He's not really like Frank Rijkaard, but he's doing a similar job. They've got, and then it's like going through the team like, well, he's not as good as that guy, but like, and it was just like one of those comparisons that he made, and then spent 2 minutes like trying to like qualify everything he said.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was just
because he realized immediately that he went too far.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
none of the players actually have any comparison.
Yeah, because none of them are good enough. And that's just like real shame. It's just like they just don't have any real talent. Because if they did, they're like I think Scott Parker's done fairly well with a team that looked like they were doomed from the start, and they're still doomed because they don't have any players. I mean, it's Lookman. Lookman's their best player. Is Zambon Gisa their second best player? I think.
Or Bobby De Cordova Reed. Or the long throw merchant Ola Aina. I don't know. They don't have anybody that good.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lookman's good.
I think he's pretty
a
good.
player. He could start for a mid-table Premier League side, I think.
Yeah, for the right one. I mean, he didn't get much game time at Everton.
I mean, he was a lot younger still, right? A couple of years. How long's he been out?
I don't know. He wasn't a young player, like a youth player or anything. He does have talent, though. Nice pass.
What was that?
Marcos Alonso finding nobody.
Or
was that
Mount? Yeah.
See, that's the biggest insult.
Yeah, when you get compared to Marcos Alonso, you get confused with Marcos Alonso. Guys, if you haven't noticed, Connor doesn't really like Marcos Alonso.
I don't think he's good. Been a seller since the day he rocked up on the shores.
The old Antonio Conte's title-winning side, 3-5-2 every game.
I mean, the two players closest to him in most games were Conte and Hazard. Hazard was unbelievable that season.
Yes, he was. The good old days when Hazard was a real soccer player. That was actually good. Can you believe how bad he's been for Madrid? Like, is that the worst signing they've ever had?
Probably not. But doesn't mean he hasn't been bad. They've just had they've had their fair share of bad signings.
Oh, decent ball forward towards Mount, just headed down by Ciaran Clark to break it up. Newcastle moving through with cells at the moment.
I do think Hazard's still like a good player. If he was fit, he'd probably dominate.
Is that literally it? You think he's just like not fit? I mean, I feel like it's got to be.
He was overweight.
More. Yeah.
I don't know. He had a stretch where he was playing really, really well last year.
How did that how do you have a club as big as Madrid and you like sign this guy and then like somehow you just like wouldn't you feel like you would have more control over his like diet and life to like not allow him to get overweight?
He's on holiday. You don't really have any say in that though.
And what did Hazard like get his move and just decide like guess I don't need to try anymore?
Yeah, he just gained like 10-15 pounds.
I got my big payday. Guess I'm done.
Yeah, I mean he's really, really good. He's still able to be a good player despite all that.
The stream's been really crappy, honestly. Have they subbed Joelton on yet? Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, that's right. We literally have not seen him touch the ball yet.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Conte. He got a big smile on his face, about to come on the pitch. How legendary of a story is it that he biked to training every day?
Who?
Conte.
What do you mean?
Wasn't there like remember like when people like memeing that he like bite like people
There was
would
a
see
photo of
biking?
him biking for the French national team, and he had a huge smile on
Oh,
his face.
okay, yeah, that's right, yeah. Oh, leaves this one off to Hudson-Odoi. Good cross. That's a great cross flash across the 6-yard box. Super unlucky that neither Werner nor Mount could get to that one. He actually got it past Darlow.
See, this is what they were missing when Gale was on. Joe Linton just holds off Rudiger.
Yeah, wins a free kick.
And wins a free kick. If he hadn't won the free kick, they would have had possession inside the opposition half. That's the kind of play that Dwight Gale was never going to make. And it's why they needed to make a change. Like with Joe Linton, at least you have someone that you can like look to in that type of situation. And it's not the case. Like you don't need someone that can get in behind on a through ball necessarily, because you're not even getting into positions where you've got the opportunity to make cutting through balls because you're sat so deep.
Yeah.
And so with Joe Linton, you can get somebody like he can run in behind. He's not slow. But with Gale, that's your only option. He's a goal poacher. The poachers are hugely dependent on the system around them.
Yeah. Minimal touches, maximum efficiency. Be their motto.
There's
Ryan Fraser. Somewhere out there, Andrew Aviles has a big smile on his face.
If Joe Willett comes off, I'm going to claim a victory on the subs calls. I got the first one right.
My money would be on it. Yeah, I do. It's funny too because sometimes when I am on cast and I'm like going through a game and I'll like see the sub get up and I'm like this is like who he's coming on for, or I'll be like this is what the change, and every time it happens I'll be like yes. Love this bump. Even if it's like super obvious, you're just like that should happen, but you know, still gotta say it. $20 minutes remaining. What are we looking at here? This is
It's the one where Werner thought he got fouled.
Oh, yeah, you didn't get fouled. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not a penalty.
It's one of those ones you're never going to get.
You're never going to get. We're both looking over at Luca. He's laying on my bed over the left-hand side here. He's just out.
Completely
He's just
out.
freaking out. That little guy looks more comfortable in my bed than I do.
Looks more comfortable anywhere than anybody. Can sleep in like the hog-tied position.
Yep. We got a long throw coming in. Is that Fraser getting hot and involved? That's a terrible long throw. Good lord.
That's Kraft.
Oh, is that Kraft? Okay. Yeah. Dude, Kraft has been terrible both times I've seen him play. I can't remember who they played the last game I cast him, but he got scorched on the dribble multiple times. Oh, it was Arsenal.
There's wee man.
It was when Arsenal.
Ryan Fraser's first involvement. He's sort of in a cul-de-sac. Ooh, we got it.
Oh, it's a nice ball.
Draw a pen. That's when you die.
Oh, okay. Handball. Handball against young Joe Willock. He's not even that young.
Be like Jesse Lingard and turn 24 5 times.
Yeah, man. No kidding. That was like a wild spell back then when people were like, he's still a young player. I was like, no, he's not. How old is he now? Like 28, 29? Like 27, 28?
I think he's 28 or 29.
I mean, how old's Rashford?
23 maybe?
Yeah, I mean, he's like ridiculously younger than Lingard.
28 is Lingard.
Did it say birth month?
Oh, I didn't check.
Oh, that's fine.
Rashford's 23.
Yeah, there you go. 5 years younger.
Then Lingardinho. Did you start San Maximin?
Yeah, I did.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's a good save.
It's a good header from Joe Ellington. He really got up, climbed the golden ladder, as they say.
Yeah, Joe Ellington. Actually, it's Willick.
Oh, it's Willick.
Yeah, it's Willick.
Just high pointed that ball.
Yeah. Decent cross by Fraser, comes in from the far side of the pitch. Willick runs in, gets up over the top of, it looks like, gets up over Christensen. Yeah, nods it down. It's
a little bit of a Hollywood save from Kepa.
Yeah, it is a bit of a Hollywood save. I feel like he loves the dramatic save.
I mean, how else are you going to get back in the team?
Yeah, exactly.
They should hit this gigs to skulls. Jamal Lewis is just hanging out outside the D. Get Jonjo to serve it up for him.
I don't know if Lewis quite has that.
No, you need two Jonjos, one to serve and one to
hit it. Yeah.
Steve Bruce's head.
Look, there's a Jonjo right there. That guy was bald.
Does Steve Bruce have the largest head of anyone associated with the Premier League in terms of cubic volume?
It's a good question, man. Probably.
We haven't really.
There's a reason he was a decent defender, right?
We need a C scan on Harry Maguire.
Yeah, that's for sure. United just full of these massive headed center backs. Did Brucey ever play for anyone other than Newcastle and Man U?
I just know him as a Man U player. He's before our time, though. Yeah. Like, he played in the 90s, but like.
That's Odoi. More decent work down the right hand side, gets a crossaway. Clark clears it behind for a corner.
It's definitely part of Ferguson's first great team.
Yeah. All right, Connor. Who's your man of the match?
Probably choose Mateo Kovacic. I think he's been really good. What about you?
I'm trying to remember the first goal.
Werner, Cross, yeah. Darlow, parried, and Giroud.
I mean, I think it has to be Werner, probably. Unfortunately, I don't know if anyone's been standout enough. I mean, I think Coach has been really good. I think their defense has been obviously very good. Now Lascelles is hurt again. Lascelles has been battling injuries for a while, guys. He's been like in and out of the team. He's probably going to be out again. Yeah, when you have a goal and an assist involved.
I think Werner's been good. I feel like Kovacic has really kept it moving. I feel like if Werner didn't score his goal, somebody else would have scored a goal. His goal wasn't particularly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
He did make good work on the assist. You've got Reece James coming on.
And Andy Carroll standing behind him. Getting his instructions. Oh, it's Hudson-Odoi.
So here, Andy, that's the back post. We want you to stand there. You see that? That's Jamal Lewis. He'll be serving it up for you. It is interesting. Like, what do you tell Andy Carroll when he comes on that he doesn't already know? Like, he's
be big, be strong, head balls.
Like his role in the 78th minute is only one thing. Just chaos agent. Like, go make life hell for the center back and try to score a goal.
Yeah, be big, be strong, head ball, have fun. I mean, I guess you at least like got to give him his marker for like corner kicks and whatnot, but that's about it. That's what I say sometimes. Some of the I feel like some of the coaching on the sideline just like doesn't do anything sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you'd want to tell like Reece James is coming on, right? Like he's coming on and he's going to replace Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
You're defending a 2-goal lead. You should probably tell Reece James what's expected of him because it's probably different from what Callum Hudson-Odoi is. And Reece James, like, you know, he could choose to play a certain degree of attacking versus defensive.
Yeah, like he is now. He's gonna have a shot. Oh, okay. I don't know if that deflected, but good kick saved by Darlow.
That's 4 points for my fantasy team. That's a shot on target and a save.
You started him? No other options?
No other options. And he's repaid me with 2 points.
I was say, gotta love that. Oh, and Darlow's keep.
Yep.
Keep. Nice. There's Willick. And so all 3 substitutions have come to fruition. Who'd Frazier come on for then? Or wait, maybe not all 3.
San Maximin.
Okay, yeah, not all 3. We got 2 right. The drip has begun again.
I've got a second viewer.
Yeah, Diaz. It's either probably SSB Mix or Your Yice 1, I would bet.
Is there a way for you to tell?
Nope.
They'll just reveal themselves.
They'll reveal themselves in time, yeah.
We've gone to see the end of what's been a pretty disappointing game.
Yeah.
From a neutral perspective.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of Newcastle defending.
Very one-sided, not a whole lot going on, and once the 2 goals were in, just kind of like, no need to do anything. Just like Jose Mourinho's entire life. Or all of his full instructions to his team. Don't need to do anything, guys. They really did they just got fucked. They just got smacked by Man City, man. It was so bad.
Ilkay Gundogan's into double figures for scoring on the
He's
season.
a madman. He has 9 and 9. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not usually a goal scorer.
No. He's turned into a right box to box and like killer. Just showing up at the end of every play with like a 30-yard run.
He's been taking his Frank Lampard lessons.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's where the extra chip clip went. Look at that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was using it for my pretzels.
Is
there someone around here?
They're right there.
They're there. Oh no, not Olivier.
We've lost the viewer.
Our beautiful French man. He's in pain. How can we alleviate his pain, Connor?
Olivier Giroud.
Wait 9 more minutes for this game to end. I don't even want to. I don't even want to write a match report about this match. This game is awful. Oh. Best chance of the match for Newcastle. They had a kind of a bouncing ball, bouncing like in the attacking half. Yeah, there's a header forward by Azpilicueta, comes right back. Andy Carroll goes up, does what he does best, is big, is strong, wins balls.
Flicks it to Joe Ellington, who has a nice little flick, hacky sack move over the shoulder to Almiron on rushing, who's got to pick the ball out of the air with his left foot. Can't quite direct it on target.
Yeah, got good contact on it, but yeah, just couldn't get on target.
It wasn't an easy one. I wish he'd done better.
Yeah. Does he get call-ups to the U.S. national team? I feel like he doesn't, does he?
He's not American, so no.
Oh, shit.
He's Paraguayan.
Oh, that's right. Just associated with him because he played for Atlanta. Yeah. Tough slip.
An unfortunate slip.
By Carroll.
Yeah. Kraft out there looking like based Matt Ritchie.
Surprise. Chelsea with it again. It's working it back. Look at it. Look at that hustle from Ryan Fraser. You gotta love it. Look at those little legs churn to get the pressure on. Oh, and he's helped his side win a throw in. Those are the little moments, Connor. Those are the little moments managers just love. Those are the little moments that build up and lead to a big moment that builds up and leads to a win.
Another lovely pass from John Joe. Switching the play with ease.
And Kraft almost taking a slip as well, yeah. Harris hard. There's Ryan Fraser cropping up the right side.
There we go. Get stuck in, Hayden.
He's had a few of those today.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, it is his job. Getting stuck in. Darlow launching this long. 4 wins, 1 draw, no losses in the last 5 matches under Tuchel. 4 clean sheets in those 5. Their only goal conceded is that Rudiger own goal. That's hilarious.
For which I paid dearly in fantasy. It lost me a matchup.
Brutal.
Oof. Shocking pass from Aspi.
Yeah.
Darlow with a spin move to get out of trouble.
While the ball's already in his hands, by the way. Oh, there we go, Andy.
Big Andy.
Yes, Big Andy.
He's going to win Chelsea a throw in deep in their own.
The incremental gains. Oh, okay. Oh, no, he lost it. Took a quick free kick to Newcastle. They tried to slot it into Almiron. His first touch popped up. Yeah, here it is. Going to break. It clipped in. Yeah, it just doesn't get a good first touch on it. It just allows everyone from Chelsea to get back. I think they gave him a corner, though. Looks like they did, yeah. Here it comes. Fraser serving it in. It's nodded away by Christensen. Good work. Fraser. Arrizabalaga punches that one instead of catching it.
That's why you gotta test him.
Yeah, that's why you gotta test him.
Stick Big Andy in front of him. You won't fancy that.
Look who woke up. He's giving us the looks, guys. Alright, here we go, Kraft. Better long throw. Gotta be. Come on. Dude, that long throw just is not even that long. Is Sawyer still the longest throw you've ever seen? The backup throw?
No. Kid on Emery had a longer one.
Oh yeah, I forgot the kid on Emery. I played against him too. That was insane. He was just chucking it into the goal. Oh wow, that's Big Andy committing the foul. Hoping for a pen. Let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot there. It's Big Andy trying to be a little conniving. It is funny when like players who are just like typically not, they're not like quick or like flat, like bigger, stronger, clunkier players, they like try to like dive or like do something clever. It just always looks so like painfully robotic.
Is that why you don't dive, DJ?
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't dive. I don't know how. I literally could not dive if I wanted to. I don't know how to do it convincingly.
Have you never done it?
No.
Only done it a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever received a challenge and thought and like had the thought in my mind, oh, I should go down here. Like, I don't think it's ever crossed my mind. There was one time I did get a yellow card for diving in high school because, and it was just like kind of wild chance. I was backing into a guy for our long throw in high school, and the ball went over our heads. And as I turned to like try to charge into the box to see if I could pick up the second ball, he turned as well, and his cleat, one of his cleats, like went into my shoelace. And so as I turned to like run away from him, I was tripped by my like shoelace loop hitting his cleat and just like went down super hard because obviously I like got tripped on accident.
Yeah.
And obviously he didn't foul me; it was just completely incidental. But the referee thought I dove because he had made no contact.
Did you tell
with
him
me.
what happened?
Yeah, I showed him my shoelace. I'm like, look, it was in my shoelace. It was all like stretched. He didn't believe me.
That's just dumb. Did you see in the game recently? I forget who it was. There was a foul that was called. I think it was in a Serie A game, and the guy instead of taking the free kick, just gave the ball back to the other team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Reece James
Losing your 0.5 fantasy
Dispo.
points.
Oh, here we go. We're back in business. Come on, Reece. Goes to the same move for the third straight time.
Does he have a different move?
He's not much of a dribbler.
No.
He's got a good right foot. That's his main attribute.
Yep. We have reached the end of regulation. 3 more minutes of stoppage time, and I think everyone's just waiting for these 3 minutes to be over.
Definitely not us, though.
Connor wants to go give Luca the rubs. Feels like he can't do it because the camera's still live. Big strong header by Andy Carroll, but he's offside. 2 minutes left. Thomas Tuchel going to run out with his 5th win in 6 matches to start his Chelsea tenure. A little bit of a stretch there for Conte. Gets to it though. That's forced back by a pretty loose pass from Giroud. That's a foul. Nope. Oh no, that's just okay. There it is. I was gonna say that would have been tragic.
If Reece James had been allowed to steal in there and score.
The player down injured because he was fouled. Tuchel doesn't seem very happy with their win. Despite
He's not a very happy guy.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. He did have to deal with the PSG players. I feel like that would drain almost anyone except for Julian Laurens. That's because Laurens goes clubbing with him.
Well, the second half has been less eventful than the first.
Yes, it has. No goals, hardly any chances.
Newcastle really unable to affect the game in any meaningful way.
Yeah, seriously. That should do it though. There it is. Full-time whistle. Chelsea going to run out of home. Stamford Bridge 2-0 winners over a hapless Newcastle side today. Tuchel's 5th win in 6. Just that one draw as well. And Werner likely going to be picking up an assist and a goal for the 2. So hopefully he'll get back in firing form for Chelsea, if you are a Chelsea fan. But yeah, other than that, thanks for tuning in. If you were out there for even a little bit of time, and thanks for hanging out, Connor. Sad the match was so boring, and hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.